A big development that is now coming to light has now cleared the way for the extradition of Tahawwur Rana, convict in the 2008 Mumbai terror attack, dismissing his final review petition. Tahawwur Rana, who is a Canadian national of Pakistani origin, is wanted in India for his role in the terror attacks, and this was the last legal opportunity to avoid extradition after losing several battles in the US courts. Let's get a word from Arunil, who is joining us live from Mumbai. Because, Arunil, this is important and this is a big development. Over 15 years as far as justice and this long legal battle continues, Tahawwur Rana is all set to be extradited.
Well, this is a massive news for India, as well as can be seen as justice for people who were injured, as well as the victims from the dastardly dastardly Mumbai attacks. Why I am basically saying this is because he was arrested in the US, kept in a prison in Los Angeles. The extradition was approved in the lower courts. His legal counsel approached the Supreme Court of the United States. There, the principle of double jurisdiction they basically had tried to invoke, saying that a person being tried for one crime in a country cannot be tried for the same crime in another country. Like in this case, it is India. It has been rejected and his extradition has been approved by the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, who basically is Tahawwur Rana? He is a Canadian citizen of Pakistani origin. He was the main key conspirator with the prime accused, that is David Headley. He helped David Headley plan out the dastardly 26/11 Mumbai attacks. We have seen cogent evidences have been produced by the Mumbai police, by the legal representatives of the Indian government also till now. That how
Mr. Ujjwal Nikam is with us right now. Mr. Nikam, do you believe this is a big development that has now come to light right after the years and years of legal battle that we are looking at, and justice for all of the victims of the Mumbai terror attacks? Extradition way that has now been cleared for India as far as Tahawwur Rana is concerned.
Indeed, it's a big development. I would say it's a big victory for India, because Tahawwur Rana is the person who knows the much details of the criminal conspiracy behind the terror attack of 26 November on Mumbai. I have already examined David Headley in Mumbai court. David Headley has given the certain sensitive revelation showing on the basis of the email correspondence which he had produced in Mumbai court as well as in Chicago court, showing the nexus between Lashkar-e-Toiba and the ISI of Pakistan. David Headley was working under the command of Tahawwur Rana, and as per the instruction of Tahawwur Rana, he had opened the office in Mumbai at the immigration center, and through that, he had taken the various photographs of the targeted places of 26 November. Thereafter, he handed over those state photographs to the Lashkar-e-Toiba, and also David Headley was working for Al-Qaeda also. Now, David Headley's nexus with Tahawwur Rana is very close. India is a big success because American Supreme Court has finally rejected the review petition of Tahawwur Rana, because Tahawwur Rana had taken a legal stand in Supreme Court that he has already been sentenced by Chicago court for the same offense for which the India wants to try him. But American administration has rejected his plea and informed to the Supreme Court that India wants a different charge, and that has been accepted by the Supreme Court of America, and the review petition has been dismissed. Moreover, it is very important to note that the Trump government, which has taken certain important decisions by issuing the administrative ordinances, and in that has not been stated. That gives a clear message and signal to the world that America will also not tolerate their land for the terrorist purpose, and that is the reason as to why the American administration also won't now allow him to stay there and will deport to India for trying him.
What you were mentioning, Mr. Nikam, I believe was that double jeopardy that he had taken up in the courts there in the United States. But Mr. Nikam, from here on, how do you see the process and the procedure now being followed up? Because he's a man who is wanted in India as well on the charges that have now been leveled and the terror attacks that he is now been accused of and convicted of. Exactly what happens from here on when the extradition process is now being cleared?
Now he will be deported to India. And in India, he will be charged for the different charges for which he was never tried in Chicago court, number one. Number two, now the criminal conspiracy behind the terror attack of 26 November will be unearthed more in detail because Tahawwur Rana was serving in Pakistan Army earlier. Later on, he accepted the citizenship of Canada and later after he settled in America. So Tahawwur Rana and David Headley's close nexus is already, we have established in Mumbai court. I have examined the David Headley at length and we have sent the entire evidence to the Pakistan government. Because when I had visited to Islamabad, then we asked them very categorically as a member of the official delegation that why you are not prosecuting Hafiz Saeed Zakir Rahman Lakwi. The stock answer was, where is the evidence? Now, through David Headley, we have given much evidence to them. And Tahawwur Rana will be evidence, he will give also more evidence. That is what I anticipate. So I think it's a great success for India.
Right. And even as we look at the legal procedures to follow, how long do you believe that this legal battle that has been continuing for years and years, Mr. Nikam, finally will get that scope of justice as far as for the victims are concerned? Because, of course, all of this that has been happening in American courts, the Supreme Court there dismissing his final petition, there have been American citizens as well, over the 160 of them who were killed in this terror attack.
Right. 166 people were killed and 600 or something else, the people were injured in Mumbai terror attack. Now, this is terror attack of 26 November that was mounted from Karachi. Karachi, they had set up the control room. They were monitoring from Karachi. And according to me, the Pakistan Army, some of the army officials have, in fact, facilitated the terrorist attack.
All right. Mr. Nikam, thank you very much for joining in as the 2611 prosecutor, as he's been the one who has been at the helm of the affairs when it comes to the legal battle in India's courts that has also been fought for the justice for the victims of 2611 terror attacks. Major General A.K. Sivacha is also with us. Good morning to you. Big development coming in from the U.S. Supreme Court.
Absolutely. It's a great victory that finally we have managed to get him back because he has tried a number of federal courts. He lost it and finally he filed a petition in Supreme Court which has been also rejected on 21st January. Now finally he will come back, and the point today is that he is the man who has carried out the recce and given a logistics support to the David Headley, who the main conspirator of this deadly attack of Mumbai in 2008, where 166 people were killed, including 6 who are American citizens. Now the thing is that he has tried his best that he will that not come in India. He has raised this issue of double jeopardy, as you were discussing earlier, that he has been already tried on the same charges in one of the federal courts and has been acquitted, and Indian government is now asking his extradition almost on the same charge. But that has been denied. It said that the charges are far, far different than when he was tried in the federal court. All said and done, once he comes back, the whole picture will be very clear. Because he is a Canadian citizen now of a Pakistan origin. Correct. He was served in Pakistan Army as a doctor before he went to Canada, and he was a ISI tool. And he was the one who was given a task to carry out a complete recce of Mumbai and also provide a logistics support to David Headley, who was the main conspirator of this Mumbai attack. A very good victory. In fact, once he comes in India, you will find it that the dots will be connected and it will become absolutely clear the involvement of Pakistan hand and Pakistan ISI as to how this operation was conducted by them for this 60 hours when the complete Mumbai was seized. I think that's a great victory, and this is a good coordination cooperation between India and US, and it will also send a very good message all around the world that in case if there are criminals who are hiding in another country, there can be a coordination, cooperation, and he can be sent back to the country.
Well, there has been a change in the government there in the United States of America, and we are looking at this big development also coming in India's way as far as the extradition of Tahawwur Rana is concerned. Thank you very much, Major General Sivaj, for joining in. Let's in the meantime also put out when it comes to the findings that is now concerned when it comes to the last legal option that Tahawwur Rana had to approach in the US courts. It's been dismissed now by the Supreme Court there. Let's talk about the findings. This is all part of the NIA charge sheet, which goes on to say that he provided, when it comes to a blueprint of the 26/11 attack to the Lashkar-e-Toiba, as he played a crucial role when it comes to giving out information, helped David Headley open an immigration firm in Mumbai as well. However, he's a Canadian citizen with Pakistani origins, and he also played the role of a double agent. Headley did reconnaissance of the targets. That means when it comes to the recce of the areas where they were planning to execute the plan of terror attacks. Now, Rana's Mumbai office was used as for terror activities as well. This is all part of the NIA charge sheets. He knew exactly when it comes to David Headley's meeting and what was discussed, so he had all the relevant information with him. However, what's not taken up, as he also played a crucial role when it comes to knowing the very fact when it comes to logistical support that was also going on in the planning of the Mumbai terror attacks that is believed to have gone for over a year and a half. Direct knowledge of Pakistan state's direct involvement when it comes to the 26/11 terror attacks that has also been reported. These are the multiple findings on the basis of which, Arunil, the NIA and of course, when it comes to multiple Indian agencies, were focusing, giving away when it comes to their submissions in the courts there to bring this man back.
Well, Amita, India has always been claiming with bolstering evidence, in fact, that it was Pakistan who has orchestrated the dastardly attacks in Mumbai, the 26/11 attacks, and it was done via their cells. Basically, it was David Headley, be it Ujjwal Nikam on the ground, how basically he fired at people, be it agents like Tahawwur Rana. Tahawwur Rana, somebody who served in the Pakistan army, later on became a Canadian citizen. Concrete evidence were produced by the Indian government to the US government as well, to the council basically in the United States, because in the lower courts his petition against the extradition to India was rejected. The council basically later on moved the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has again rejected their plea for extradition. Basically, principle of double jeopardy was being raised by the counsel of Tahawwur Rana, saying that if he's been tried for one crime in one country, how can he be tried for the same crime in India as well? However, the crime has been committed on Indian soil. Mumbai police till now, as well as the National Investigation Agency, have been producing cogent evidences against Tahawwur Rana and how he acted with David Coleman Headley to orchestrate, to carry out these dastardly attacks in Mumbai. And when Tahawwur Rana is extradited to India, when more investigations will follow, we can hope that India's claim that Pakistan's hand was in it, more evidences, certainly the investigation agencies will be able to gather in that.
All right, but what happens from here on? Because with the extradition process, as far as the involvement of Indian agencies are now also concerned, there has been a recent change in government in the United States of America as well, Arunil. How long will it actually take when it comes to legal formalities to be completed to get Tahawwur Rana extradited to India?
Well, till now, at least, it has been seen that this is a full-fledged cooperation between India and the US, not only legally but diplomatically as well. Meticulous planning from the Indian government per se, getting the extradition of a key convict in the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, that is Tahawwur Rana. We hope, in fact, Ujjwal Nikam is the senior lawyer. Basically, he was the one who was representing the Indian government against all the accused in the Mumbai attacks, is confident now that he will soon be extradited, and as and when investigation proceeds, more interrogation that will be followed with Tahawwur Rana, will get cogent evidences against Pakistan, which can be given to the Pakistani government, as well as Pakistan can be shamed at the international level.
All right, so the US Supreme Court there clearing when it comes to the Mumbai attack convict, Tahawwur Rana's extradition to India. And this is on part of the Supreme Court there in the United States as far as the last legal option that Rana had. That has now been dismissed by the US Supreme Court. India for long who was seeking the extradition of Tahawwur Rana, a Canadian national of Pakistani origin, as he was wanted in the 2008 Mumbai terror attack case, and this was the last legal chance not to be extradited to India. However, that has now been dismissed. However, when it comes to losing that legal battle in several federal courts, as Rana was appealing to almost all of the courts there, including the US Court of Appeals for the North Circuit in San Francisco, and where he had filed a petition for a writ of certiorari or before the US Supreme Court, and that was actually denied by the Apex Court on the 21st of January, a day after when Donald Trump was sworn in as the American president. And clearly when it comes to the petition being denied by the Supreme Court there, Rana, who is currently detained at the Metropolitan Detention Center in LA, because this is what we are talking about as a big development as the extradition process is now concerned, Arunil, approaching the US Supreme Court. That seems to be the last legal option. However, he's lost that battle after losing the legal battle in lower courts as well.
Well, that is right. Basically, first he lost the battle. His legal representatives lost the battle in the lower courts in the United States. Several such petitions were being made against the extradition of Tahawwur Rana to India. Several incriminating as well as critical evidences were produced by the Indian government as well, justifying why his extradition was paramount for the investigation to proceed. India was making some extremely serious claims against Pakistan, against Tahawwur Rana as well, an ex-officer from the Pakistani army. He has served in the Pakistani army in the past, now of Canadian citizenship. He has Canadian citizenship, but when the interrogation with David Headley had taken place, Ujjwal Nikam also mentioned about the fact that how Tahawwur Rana was a key conspirator with David Headley. How he was acting hands in glove with David Headley, how they basically had hired these people from Pakistan to come on Indian soil. A proper recce of different locations was also being done. Selectively, these locations were being chosen by the accused. Obviously, these were the conspirators or masterminds who chose the locations, and that was being revealed to these shooters, that is Ajmal Kasab and his other shooters. They had chosen those kind of locations in Mumbai, which were crowded, which were very significant, be it the Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj train terminus where many people unfortunately lost their life, be it the iconic Taj Hotel, from where they wanted to affect the business capital of India, that is basically Mumbai, as well as the Israeli center.
So let's in the meantime also talk about the order copy, which has also been accessed by Times Now, which clearly goes on to say that when it comes to the last legal option of this appeal is concerned of Tahawwur Rana in the US Supreme Court, that has now been dismissed. Now, looking at the submissions as well, which has been taken up by the NIA, which is investigating into Tahawwur Rana's role in 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks carried out by the Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorists back in 2008. And Tahawwur Rana, who was arrested in the US at the India's request for extradition over his involvement in the terror attacks. And what has now been said that the NIA officials have been stating that every possible step, and this is a big win, even when it comes to, of course, what's been happening, Arunil, via the legal battle that has been fought in courts. This is also a big win when it comes to the diplomatic victory that we are looking at as far as securing his extradition to India.
Well, certainly, yes, massive diplomatic victory for the Indian government, because this is the US Supreme Court. In lower courts as well, the Indian government has managed to get this victory. The petition against the extradition of one of the key convicts, that is Tahawwur Rana, was dismissed in the lower courts. When the matter was taken to the higher courts, obviously the topmost court in the United States, basically the Supreme Court, there also it was rejected stated basically the principle of double jeopardy was being invoked by the legal counsel of Tahawwur Rana, saying that he's already been tried for the same offense in the United States. How can he be tried in India? That has been dismissed now. Ujjwal Nikam has utmost confidence that soon he will be extradited to India. The entire planning of the Mumbai attacks was done by David Headley in co-conspiring with Tahawwur Rana, an ex-Pakistani army personnel, now a Canadian citizen. So yes, cogent evidences have been produced against Mr. Rana.
So Tahawwur Rana's name that has been listed as an accused when it comes to the 405-page charge sheet related to the Mumbai terror attacks, where he is said to have assisted the attacks mastermind and the key accused, which is David Coleman Headley. And according to the charge sheet, Tahawwur Rana, who is a member of the ISI and Lashkar-e-Toiba, and it was back on 26th of November 2008 when 10 of these terrorists launched attacks across Mumbai, the financial capital, engaging in mass shootings at multiple locations, and the incident which resulted in the deaths of 166 individuals, including when it comes to American citizens as well. So that is what we are now following up. Let's get in a word from Lieutenant General PJS Pannun as well, joining us here on the broadcast. Good morning to you, Lieutenant General. What do you have to say as far as these developments that are now concerned in the US court? The last legal option has now expired. It's extinguished for Tahawwur Rana.
Tahawwur Rana being a prime witness in this kind of a case would be extremely important, because if he has been the prime planner and executor of a very sensitive operation from where the attack has actually come from the Indian Ocean side, the Pakistan-India boundary, really speaking, there is nothing that makes anybody stop this kind of offensive. But, you know, the planning behind it, how the people were trained, what was the modus operandi, what was the condition of the local condition in the security of the ocean, all that will be extremely important to us to understand how the whole thing was planned, plotted, and executed. And also, of course, he will be an essential witness to talk about the culpability of Pakistan and the planners and the ISI into it. I think that is extremely important. While most of the pointers have been very credible that Pakistan is the main perpetuator of this attack, but I think this will further nail Pakistan as being a global terrorist, where people with such high positions in the ISI are the ones who are involved in planning operations which are not directly conventional but terrorist operations. So official organization in terrorist operations is something which will get very credibly established in this.
Absolutely, and this is where, when it comes to this legal battle that was being fought in the courts, Lieutenant General Pannun, thank you very much for joining us here on the broadcast as we talk about when it comes to the charges that have now been involved, that has been taken up with Tahawwur Rana as well, because the charges against him is the biggest one, is to conspiracy to wage a war, and that is the most serious one, and that too against the country, where when it comes to commit murder, we have seen his involvement when it comes to the information having over the planning and the logistical support that was being provided over a year and a half when the planning was taking place, to commit forgery, for also cheating. That is also one of the reasons that is being cited, and to use as a genuine forged document as well. All of these charges that have now been included so that this man can be tried when it comes to in Indian courts. Committing terrorist act, this is the biggest one so far, having the knowledge of the complete planning that has gone into the Mumbai terror attack, and the conspiracy to commit this terror attack seems to be the biggest development there, that he has lost the final battle in the US courts, and he's all set to be extradited to India following when it comes to the extradition treaty that India and the United States of America has. So we'll continue to get you more reactions on this big development right here on Times Now. Stay tuned.